What's good, friends? It's Tim, the Hoosier Forager, out on a walk today. As you can see by my shirt, it's late October, spooky season, and I just thought I would take a walk to enjoy some foliage today. Didn't really anticipate doing a video, but I ran across something that I couldn't pass up the opportunity to show you because it's the first time I've ever found this mushroom, and I don't see it found a whole lot around my area, so I had to jump on the opportunity and throw the camera up so we can take a look at this. It is called the Enoki mushroom. Is the common name. Also velvet foot or velvet shank are a couple other common names, and then the Latin name is Flammulina velutipes. It grows in clusters on dead wood. So here's a little cluster of them right here. I found several clusters of this growing on this dead tree. After I'm done showing this to you up close a little bit, I'll turn the camera around and show you what it looks like when it's actually growing on the tree. A lot of times it grows on like the underside of a tree. As you can see, they kind of grow in an upward fashion. But I wanted to show you a couple of key identifying features for the Enoki, because this is not what I would consider to be a beginner's mushroom. It's one that has some very toxic lookalikes. So as long as you put your work in, you're good. Don't be intimidated by that. Make sure to just do your research, follow the steps, and then you'll be fine. If you have some of these that you find growing on a tree in a cluster as well, Enokis grow in clusters. A lot of times the deadly Galerina grow singly or in small clusters. These were like handful clusters, so that is another identifying feature as well. But go ahead, take these home, take a spore print. If it lines up with all the other identifying features that we covered, the cap, the gills, and the stem, and the white spore print, you're good to go. A lot of people will just put them whole into a super stew, or you can cut the shank off because it is kind of fibrous and just stir fry the caps. I would also suggest, if you see multiple clusters growing on the tree that you take home, test at least one mushroom for a spore print from each cluster, because deadly Galerina can grow on the same tree right next to a group of the Flammulina velutipes. So want to make sure that you are absolutely 100% certain, because deadly Galerina is deadly toxic, as the name implies. So make sure and do your homework, make sure and do your research, but don't let that stop you. These are a delicious mushroom, and you can also reap the medicinal benefits that you can look up online. I'm not going to go into all of that, but there's a lot of good benefits to doing that. Just make sure and do your work. Let's take a closer look at Enoki. Disclaimer, please make sure you are 100% certain on any mushroom ID before consuming. Here's the overturned tree, and as you can see, it's still partially in the ground, but most of the roots are still sticking up in the air. On the backside of this overturned tree, you'll see two larger dense clusters growing. This is a key identifying feature of Enoki, especially when comparing to deadly Galerina, as they grow singularly or in small clusters. In a moment, we'll look at some Enoki up close so you can get a good feel for the key identifiers. Before grabbing my camera, I grabbed a small cluster that was growing on the other side of the tree. Cute little fellas, aren't they? Okay, let's get started. Here's the slimy dark orange to brown cap I spoke about earlier. Deadly Galerina can have a slimy cap as well, so that doesn't really distinguish Enoki from its lookalikes, but it's a key identifying feature nonetheless. Deadly Galerina caps are typically brown. Here are the tightly spaced white gills. Deadly Galerina have tightly spaced brown gills. Remember, take a spore print. Enoki will have white spores. Deadly Galerina have rusty brown spores. Notice the stipe or shank of the Enoki. The part closest to the tree will be dark and velvety, getting lighter as it approaches the cap. Enoki stipes will also not have a ring around the top of the stem like deadly Galerina can have. I'll list these key features of both Enoki and deadly Galerina in the comments so you can pull them up for future reference later. Thank you so much for your support, and thanks for watching this video. Please take some time out this week and get out to explore your world.